Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, this video, as you can tell from the title, is a little tongue-in-cheek. We're going to have some fun today. Okay, we're going to go through 14, maybe that was 19, 14 different art terms that you should probably already know. And a lot of times when I think about these terms and when I was kind of putting this together, I thought to myself, I kind of know what that means, but I still felt like, no, I needed to look up the definition. So there are sometimes these terms, we've heard them before, we have a vague understanding of what it means, but we actually don't know what it means. So today we're going to go through those 14 different art terms, and I'm going to start really easy. Now, if you want to play along at home, I want you to keep score. Okay, if you know the term as soon as I say it, give yourself a check for that one. Number one, I knew, check. And then at the end, I want you to tally up how many you got right and put it in the comments below so we can all judge each other, I guess. Right? So without being too much more delayed, let's get started. So the first term, I'm going to take it easy. I want to just kind of warm you up, give you some confidence, right? We're going to start with, okay, you can kind of see what I have set out here. Okay, the term is not. Now you might be looking at these three colors and saying to yourself, oh, well, those are primary colors. That's just too easy. We're not doing that. No. Now, you can also probably already know that if you take those two colors and you schmix them together, you get something known as a secondary color. Everything's so green. All right. Now, without actually mixing all these together, I think you get the point. My question is, the first art term is, do you know the definition of tertiary color? If so, what is it? I don't know. No, I do know. I'm going to tell you in case you don't know. You probably have heard that term before, tertiary color. And again, I'm going to repeat, this is tongue-in-cheek. Everybody's coming from different levels here. You've got professional artists watching my videos, people that are just getting started. This is just meant to be fun, okay? So with a tertiary color, you take that secondary color you mixed, right? So we're going to take that green, and then I'm going to mix it with one of the adjacent colors. So I can take that green, and I can either mix it with the blue, or I can mix it with the yellow in equal parts, more or less. And that will form a tertiary color. See that? So now we've got a lighter green, a yellow green, next to our green and our yellow. So those are your tertiary colors. So that's term number one. If you knew it, great. If you didn't, now you know. The more you know. I don't know why that makes me so happy. So, simple enough to mix a tertiary color, mix your secondary color, and then the secondary color to the primary color, hence tertiary. I always kind of thought it would be like a color from an opposite direction, but no, tertiary, right. All right, term number two. We're gonna keep it light, we're gonna keep it nice, hopefully easy, but don't feel bad if you don't know the term. Everybody's learning at different paces and at different places. So the term is plein air, okay? Plein air. Now, maybe you know what that means, but do you know what it means? So when you think plein air painting, you might have heard that term, so you know somebody's painting outside. But the term itself translates from in open air, right? So there's that. You can speak Italian or French. I don't know. Which one is it? It's Italian. Probably Italian. Yeah. Plein air. And plein air painting is very popular. And whenever you see somebody painting outside, you can say, hey, did you know you're painting plein air? And they'll probably say, get lost. But hey, you'll have known the term. All right, we're going to get a little bit more tricky, and maybe I will know the country of origin for this one. Number three, alla prima. It sounds Italian. It's probably Italian, okay? This is another term like plein air where you might know sort of what it means, I guess, without knowing the definition. So what it kind of means is somebody that's going to basically paint everything all at one time. They're not going to wait for layers to dry. They're not going to come back to it after they can do a wash over something or do a glaze over something. I guess you don't really do washes over things, but doing glazes, they're doing it all at once, okay? Alla prima, it's Italian. We looked it up, but I actually knew it. So that's a thumbs up for me. All right, now hopefully I know what number we're on. Term number 4 that you should be embarrassed and ashamed and just all kinds of nasty things for not knowing. Fugitive. Do you know what fugitive means? I know that some of you think you know what it means, but we ain't talking about legal terms, okay? We're talking about art-related terms. Fugitive colors, okay? A fugitive color is essentially a fancy word for saying not light fast, right? So what is an example of a fugitive color? Well, the more bright and ooh and ah and oof that color is, the more likely it is that it's going to be fugitive, because those really exciting pigments that just radiate the light that they absorb back out at you, those pigments are generally not light fast. So let me give you an example, okay? Now, over here I put down the Turner Acrylic Wash Jet Black. I love this stuff. It makes this beautiful velvet finish. I mean, I only did one coat here. If I did a couple more coats, it would just be like this solid pit of black. It really reminds me of like those black light posters from the 90s. But with that being said, you can go in with these luminescent colors. So these Lumi colors, they're fluorescent. The fluorescent color is not light fast. Now, you might be saying, well, Turner Acrylic Wash, that's an artist quality paint. You're telling me it's not light fast? No, 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 no. It's a big misnomer, okay? Gouache and gouache and acrylic wash is an artist grade paint. However, the color range is so large, and they do have several colors that are available, such as these fluorescents, which are not light fast. The reason that they have these colors, besides giving you more options, is that gouache was originally designed for the fashion industry. And when it came to doing these quick mock-ups of different outfits, you know, mainly of what you wore in the 80s, and as you know, they probably resembled these colors. You know, they weren't worried about it lasting. You know, light fast means hundreds of years, okay? Those outfits that you wore in the 80s, those big, colorful, weird, big hair band, you know, that are in your basement, they'll probably still glow under black light right now. Now, your great-grandchildren, I don't know as much. You know, I don't know. I don't know how long they will last or how they're being stored. But light fast in terms of archival artist quality means hundreds of years. And these colors just won't do it, but boy, are they pretty. Here, let me just show you. This is a the Lumi Rose. So, like, right off the bat, right onto the just the canvas pad, you can see just how vibrant that is. And then watch what happens when you take these colors and you just go right over that. They just, bam, pop. Now, if we had a black light in the studio, I could show you, but it literally looks like a black light poster. I mean, it's cool. And even if you don't have a black light, as you can see right here, it really pops. It looks great. But it is a fugitive color. It is not light fast for artist purposes, okay? If you let this sit in direct sunlight, it will start to fade and not have that same pow, wow quality. Now, I will tell you that in non-gouache and acrylic wash lines, there are some colors that are fugitive. Any color, and they're in artist paint, so just be conscientious of that. Metallic colors are fugitive. Some colors, like Opera Rose, kind of resemble this. They're not as light fast as you would think an artist paint would be. Now, they don't try to hide that. It's on the label, the light fastness. But just keep that in mind if it's something that's going to bother you. Term number 5 that you should probably know and be embarrassed if you don't. Local color. Local color. What is local color? Again, I'm going to invite you, write your answer down, okay, or just check it off. If you know, I know what that means. Local color. Okay. So local color refers to what an object looks like basically in regular light, right? So if I was to, say, take that same black light that we just showed you and put it on my shirt, it's probably going to make these colors glow. That's not local color. That's color that's being distorted by an unnatural light that's making it look like it's a color that it's actually not. So local color is based on the actual regular light around an object. You can make a pale green apple appear red if you have a bright enough red light on it. Does that make sense? So the local color refers to the more natural color of the object. Number 6, hue. Not that hue, not that hue. We could do the same thing we did in that other one. No, I'm talking about hue for art, okay? And this is a very complicated term. Hue I should probably look up the definition. I don't want to get it wrong. Hue means color. That's it. Term number 7, embarrassing art terms you should already know. Impasto. This is another one of those fancy words that isn't English, and I'm not going to venture to guess what European language it's based off of. It could be Egyptian, which is also not European. Impasto painting refers to, Katie's like, you got that right. Impasto painting, the word impasto refers to basically getting thick with your paint, thick painting application. Now, a lot of medium body paints, as you can see right here, right, this paint is up off the surface, okay? An impasto painting usually means that the paint is applied so thickly it comes off the surface, a little 3D. I'm not saying you're going to be building big sculptures with it, but it will form peaks. So when it comes to paint, there are different kinds of peaks, sort of like, I don't know if you've ever made like a meringue. You know, maybe you don't even know what a meringue is, but if you've ever whipped egg whites, you want either soft peaks or stiff peaks, and that has to do with the I guess, peak retention, they call it. But let's get back to art supplies because we got off topic there. When it comes to art supplies, some paints can be painted right from the tube in an impasto fashion, okay? These medium body to heavy body paints, the heavier the body, the more impasto style you can do right from the tube, okay? But then other paints that are like a soft body paint, paints that kind of come out more like a heavy cream than like a buttery consistency like an oil paint, all you got to do is add something like a heavy gel medium to it. This is our Jerry's Studio Acrylic Heavy Gel Medium. You can choose any finish you want, gloss, semi-gloss, matte. Buy them all and experiment. And they can create that impasto effect for you. There's also some lines of paint that have impasto mediums. There are also some lines of paint that have other mediums that are designed to give you that impasto thing that take it to the next level. So you can have like modeling paste. You can have things like pumice, but I will say that those are not really designed to be mixed in with your paint. That's sort of like something you apply to your canvas and then paint over it. Otherwise, the color is going to kind of be distorted and probably really diluted, where this is more meant that you can mix it directly in with your paint. Good tip, right? Whenever I squeeze and nothing comes out, I get really nervous. Katie? Did you see that?
How did it happen?
All right, so I was using our Soho Basic 8-color set, and I had taken out the primary colors to do this portion, and and they were already open, so I just assumed they were all open, but it turns out they're not all open, so I'm going to try to not repeat that mistake and open these colors so we can move on to point number 8. My package will bust open very easily. We're going to move on to term number 8. All right, embarrassing art term you should probably already know. Shades. Okay, what is a shade of a color? Okay, write it down. Check it off. Do you know the answer? You might have a vague idea, like we've talked about before. Oh, a shade, it's probably, you know, like a kind of version of a color. Okay? Now, a shade, very simply, is a color with black added to it. So think shade, shadow, right? So any color, you just add black. So we're going to go into this red, and then I want to give it a shade, add some black to it. This is a shade version of that red, or shaded, or charade. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you a freebie, right? Because that was term number 8. Term number 9 kind of plays into that, all right? So you're already going to kind of know where I'm going with this, just sort of based on what you see here. Term number 9 is a tint. Can you guess what a tint is? All right? A tint is when you take a color and add white to it. You're tinting it. So let's show you what that looks like. In this case, I'm guessing it's going to look fairly pink. But I don't want it to be. Okay. So we're going to take that red. We're going to add some white. And we have tinted the red. Add a little more white so we can really see that. All right. So, hue, shade, tint. The Trinity. nice. Term number 10, tone. Tone, an embarrassing art term you should probably already know. Well, I'll give you a hint. It's sort of in the range of 8 and 9. It's not quite a shade, it's not quite a tint. That's right, you guessed it. You're going to add black and white in equal parts to your hue, to your color, to create a tone, okay? So, let's see what that looks like. Well, I guess the easiest way would just be combining our shade and our tint. It's not exactly equal parts, but hey, this is Artist Science Standards, ASS. That's me. All right, now our threesome has become a foursome as we've added hue, shade, tint, and tone. Oh, you're learning so much from me. You're welcome. I got 2 words for you. You're welcome. Is that 2 words? One's a combination. You are welcome is 3, but you're welcome is 2 words. Yeah, 2 words for you. You're welcome. Term number 11, chroma. Chroma. Chroma has to do with the intensity of a color, okay? The power of a color. Strength or dominance, basically. Strength or dominance of a hue. How much does it stand out compared to others? That's the chroma, okay? So we'll just keep that one nice and simple. Moving on to 12. All right, this is one of my favorite ones. We're going to talk about mass tone. Now, if you follow Jerry's Live, if you watch our resident artist, Amy Gardner-Dean, she uses that term a lot, mass tone. This is the mass tone. It's a pretty fancy term, mass tone. What is she talking about? I'm talking to you, Amy. You watching this? If you are, put it in the comments below and DM me. All right, mass tone. Well, believe it or not, I gave you a fireworks show of mass tone a few minutes ago. Okay, mass tone is literally what the color looks like from the tube. So let's do an instant replay of. Yeah, that's the mass tone of that black color. It's just right from the tube. Oh, I love the instant replays. Let's play it backwards and see what happens. Thanks, Will. All right, term number 13, lucky 13, is value, okay? Value is the lightness of a color, okay? So you might think that that means tint because we're adding white, but there are other variations of lightness of a color. Like, for example, if you're using watercolor, you're not adding white to it, but you can change the value by adding more water because the white of the paper will shine through. So you're getting a lighter value. And if you've been painting for a while, you already know that objects in the background tend to be paler than objects in the foreground. There's particles in the air and these things that kind of make it a little bit more, blander. The colors are not going to be just bam in your face, okay, the value. And that 13th term goes into and the reason that that 13th term is so important is it goes directly into the definition of our 14th term, which is monochrome. Monochrome, okay, so mono, one, mano is hand, but mono is one hand, mano, one hand. Monochrome refers to a single color in different values. So if you see a monochrome painting, and we can show an example of that up here, a monochrome painting, this is all done using the same color in different values, different lightnesses, different, you can say tints to some degree, I mean depending on the medium you're using or the technique, different tints. This is a monochrome painting, all right? So take your 14, some of them were kind of giveaways. So take your 14 terms, some of them were kind of gimmies, but take your 14 terms and tell me how many down below you got right out of 14 and how many you thought you had right, but it turns out you just sort of kind of knew what the idea was but didn't know the definition. I'm curious. I'm curious to know where I fall in all this. This is really a social experiment about me that I'm taking out on you. So I hope this is helpful for you. These embarrassing terms that you should know, now you know, and you also understand that we're just having fun up here. We're not actually saying you should be embarrassed. Join me on Instagram at MikeNotJerry, where you can follow me and see the embarrassing things that I do, which makes it okay for me to embarrass you. And be sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video if it was helpful to you, and click the bell to be notified when we have future videos for you.